Hello teachers! Today in this video I want to talk about pre-reading or listening activities, while reading and listening activities, and post-reading or listening activities. So when we work with our students, it is really essential that they enjoy what they are doing during the lesson, but it is also important that they get as much result as possible while doing the exercises and the things that you offer them during the lesson. So first let's talk about pre-reading activities that you can use and that can make your lesson more interesting and exciting. So let's say that I chose an article to read with my students. This article is from a website called Wonderopolis, and I do really enjoy this great website because they have tons of topics to talk about with your students, and they are amazing for the levels of pre-intermediate and intermediate. There you can find interesting articles on any subject and any topic. So I do really love this article called "Is Conversation a Lost Art?" And we will get into it a little bit later. So before reading any story or anything that you are given to read to your students, if there is a picture, you can suggest to students to look at the picture and to try and guess what the story is going to be about. Give them a little bit of anticipation, give them a little hint of what might be going on in the article, that they can't wait to read it and to find out more information. As learning English is not just about learning the language, it's also about learning other things in the world and getting to know the information that they might not even think about in their every single daily life. So this is a great way just to look at the picture and anticipate and guess what could happen in the story. Another thing that you can give your students as a task to read a heading of this article and to try and also guess what it might be about, or combine the picture and the heading. So if we look here, we see a family which is gathered around the table, but they are not talking, they are all using their devices like smartphones and just surfing the net. And the heading is "Conversation a Lost Art." So that might give some hint to the students what that might be about. You can ask them about their opinion. What do they think about this situation at the table? Do they have such experiences in their lives at home with their families? After this, you suggest to students, let's read and find out more. That would give them interest, at least start reading it with some interest. While reading tasks could be quite different. It depends on what you want to work on with your students. So let's say that you want to improve their pronunciation, and for example they have problems with pronouncing the sound the and th. Then in this case I would suggest underlining all the th sounds across the whole story, and then while reading they need to be paying attention to this underlined, like highlighted th words. Let's say they can read it like this: the next time you go to the park, or maybe out to eat at a restaurant, take some time to look around you. What do you notice? Pay particular attention to the other people around you. How many of them are engaged in face-to-face conversations? And so on. So that would really improve their reading skills, and that would help them with pronouncing the sounds. Another way could be if you want to work on the words and new words with your students. So before reading the text, you can give them the time to highlight the words that they don't know. These are in yellow on my page. And before reading the story, you would help them in different ways to find out the meaning of these words. One way you can explain these words, another way you can give them time to search online, and like you give them 5-10 minutes and then look for these words online. Or you could just write all these words on a pieces of papers and they would try, like, pick it up, and those who know the words help those who don't know the words. So there are many ways how you can do this, but it would help them to know the text and to understand the text much better while reading. If you want to work on their understanding of the material more, you can give them the task that while reading you need to focus on the message that the author wants to give you in this paragraph. So let's say they are reading the paragraph and are thinking about what the author wants to say in this paragraph. So there are so many different ways and types of work that you can do, but the students need to have the goal and the purpose, why they are doing it and what would improve their skills better. Another task for while reading activity could be while reading, then they can be, for example, underlining the grammar that they are learning right now. Let's say they are learning present perfect, so while reading they would underline all present perfect sentences. Post-reading activities are as important as pre-reading activities and while reading activities, because they help to summarize it all and to kind of live through this experience of reading an article. So these are also can be quite different tasks. One task is to prepare questions about the article, and they would ask each other the questions. Or, for example, you say to your students, I want you to test me if I have a good memory or not a good memory. So they can create questions to the article and ask you, and you would need to answer them without looking into the text. That really motivates them a lot because they always want to test their teachers. Another task, you can prepare questions about the same topic, and I love to prepare these questions on these little papers, and they would draw the question, read it, and say their opinion about it. And for example, they want to know the opinion of another student in the class, so they would address the same question to one more student. Then this student would take another piece of paper, read the question, answer it, and the conversation would just go on. Another great method is using a Socratic seminar, but this is a totally different topic to discuss, and if you're interested, leave the comment down below and I can make a video about Socratic seminars. This is an amazing tool that the students learn how to learn by themselves and sharing the experiences and share their knowledges. As for the listening activities, so basically they could be quite similar to the reading activities, but of course it won't be possible to underline something. But in pre-listening activities you can do the same. You can show them the picture, you can show them the heading, and they can anticipate what they're going to be listening about. And while listening activities, it is very important to set the goal. For example, they need to hear some specific information in the story, or they need to fill in the gaps in the sentences, or they need to hear how many times the speaker has used present perfect tense, or like they need to have a task before like they are going to listen, because while they are listening, if they don't have a task, they are going to be just wandering in their mind, and that won't be very useful. Post-listening activities, of course, discussing it, asking questions, checking the exercise that you have them doing while listening, and especially if you ask them some lively questions, like really close to what they might experience in their life, that would be just an amazing thing. Plus, they can use the words that they heard in the listening activity. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Vichka's channel. Have a good day.